Good morning. Today is Sunday, September 14th, 2025. I want to share with you something quite well known from Rabbi Chaim Edelstein, who teaches at Yeshiva University. We've said this many times that we're in the month of Elul. Elul stands for Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi Li. I am to my beloved as my beloved is to me. And there is a tremendous opportunity of coming close to God during this month. The Talmud says in Masechta Rosh Hashanah, Tirshu Hashem b'matzo, seek out God when He is near, Kara'u b'yoso karov, call out to God when He is close. The Talmud says, Tirshu Hashem b'matzo, seek out God when He is near. That refers to the Aseres Yimei Tshuva, the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, inclusive. That's when God is near, and that's when we should seek out God. But what does the next phrase refer to? Kara'oso b'yoso karov, call out to God when God is close. When does that apply? One of the early Hasidic masters, the Baal HaTanya, that's the first Rebbe of Chabad, Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi. He wrote the Tanya and many other things. And he wrote something very, very famous about this. He says, Rosh Hashanah is intense. Hamelech Yoshev al Kisei Malchuso. God sits on His throne of sovereignty. Yoshev Badin, God is sitting in judgment. Rosh Hashanah is a day that is Ayom V'Nora, overwhelmingly awesome. It's intense. Before that day of Rosh Hashanah, we have the month of Elul to prepare. And today we have only about 10 days left to use the month of Elul to prepare in a very unique way. The Baal HaTanya is the first one to use this term, and it's become very popular, though perhaps it's not completely understood among everyone. The Baal HaTanya writes as follows. The avodah of Elul, what is special about Elul? What can we achieve during the month of Elul can be understood. Yoven al pi mashal. It can be understood with the following mashal, the following analogy. L'melech, to a king, shekaram shekba la'ir. The king is on his way to a city, and when the king reaches the city, he will sit on his throne. And when he sits on his throne, he will be engaged in judgment. But as he is traveling to the city, Yotzin Anshe Ha'ira Likroso, the people go out to meet the king as he's crossing the field, as he's coming. He's not yet sitting in his throne, on his throne, in the city. He's traveling. He's coming through the fields to get to the city. And while he's traveling through the fields to get to the city, the people of the city come out to see him, and Makabelim Panav Besada. And they see him and they greet him in the field. Melech Basada. The king is in the field. And when the king is in the field traveling towards where he will sit on his throne, it's more informal. The king is approachable. He's walking or he's riding. Va'az Rishayin Kol Mi Sherotze Latzeis Lahakbil Panav. And at that time, whoever wants to approach the king, to have a word with the king, is able to. V'hu makabel kulam b'sever panim yafos. And the king receives each person who approaches him in a nice manner because it's informal. It's not the whole court. He's not sitting on the throne. It's not with all the magnificence of his sovereignty. He's traveling like anybody else would travel. Okay, yes, more luxuriously than anybody would travel. But meanwhile, he's traveling. And it's a less formal setting. So anybody who wants to approach the king at that moment can approach. That is in contrast to Rosh Hashanah. But on Rosh Hashanah, where he has reached the city and he is sitting al kisei malchuso, on the seat of his sovereignty, Yoshev al kiso, when he is sitting on his throne, that is definitely Yom Nora V'Ayom, a day that is frighteningly awesome. That's Rosh Hashanah. But Elul precedes that. Melech Basodeh. The king is traveling to the city. The king is not on the throne yet. Anyone who wants can come close. Hashem is available. Elul is the time referred to by the pasuk Kara'u biyoso korov. Call out to God when God is close. The first part of the pasuk, Dirshu Hashem bimato, seek out God when he is near, that starts Rosh Hashanah and ends Yom Kippur. But the second part, Kara'u biyoso korov, call out to him. That's all you have to do. Just call out to him. Hey, king, if you have something to say, and he'll listen to you. Kara'u biyoso korov. That's the month of Elul. This is our avoda for Elul. In these 10 days we have left. To be able to say something to the king, because it's a time of closeness, but there's an informality. Anyone can approach without fear. HaMelech Basada. I want to share a story I heard from Rabbi Biderman. Rabbi Meilech Biderman tells the story that he heard from Rabbi Tuvia Weiss. Rabbi Tuvia Weiss was a child survivor of the Holocaust. Rabbi Weiss grew up in Hungary. His parents and his siblings were murdered by the Nazis. He alone of his entire family survived. And the way that happened is that the parents sensed what was happening. So he tells the story, they sent me to England on a kinder transport. You've heard about the kinder transport. There were efforts to take children, Jewish children from Europe, and to take them from England. And people sacrificed their lives, put their lives in danger to save these Jewish children in England during the war. So he was a little boy in England by himself with other little boys who were also by themselves. At that time, it was King George VI who helped to arrange the kinder transport, to his credit. And this would help save Jewish Hungarian children. In 1944, the king graciously came to visit these children. And the children lined the streets to say thank you and to wave as his car drove by. And then there was one Jewish boy, one Jewish child, ran into the street to block the car. The adults in the orphanage had told the children exactly how to act, where to stand, how to behave. But this one child ran out and blocked the king's car. And he addressed the king. Hamelech Basada. And he said to the king, can you imagine a little boy speaking to King George VI? He said to him, you saved me. But what about my parents? What a chutzpah. A chutzpah. You saved me, but what about my parents? And the king took out a pen and paper and said, what are your parents' names? And the king wrote down their names. Now, of all the children in that orphanage, only one child's parents survived the war. The one who took the opportunity when the king was in the field, Hamelech Basada, to exercise azus de kedusha, holy chutzpah. Normally, chutzpah is not a good characteristic, but sometimes it can be used for holiness. This child said to himself, this one child said to himself, I will seize this opportunity. Everyone else held back. Everyone else was scared. Everyone else was held back by their inhibitions and by the instructions they'd received from the adults in charge. Everyone else held back because they didn't really believe that they could accomplish anything by this. It would be futile. But this boy said to himself, I have nothing to lose. And the life of my parents is at stake. Rabbi Weiss told this story in tears. He, like all the others, held back. And his parents did not survive. Rabbi Biderman went on to explain, this is Elul. This is what we mean by Hamelech Basada. There is an opportunity to ask for something from the king that might in other ways be considered chutzpah. But we need to seize this opportunity. A person needs to have azus de kedusha, holy chutzpah, when the melech is in the sadeh. We have 10 days to exercise this characteristic. But there's one thing necessary for this to happen. We have a famous phrase, it comes from Ashrei, Poseach es yodecha, God, you open your hand, Umasbia l'chol chai ratzon, and you provide for each person according to their ratzon, according to their will. The last word is unnecessary. You open your hand, umasbia l'chol chai ratzon. You provide for every living creature. That's all it has to say. What does the word ratzon mean? Umasbia l'chol chai ratzon. And God provides what is in your ratzon, what you really want. You have to really want something. God doesn't just give out from the warehouse, whatever there is. Posech has yadecha. Open your hand, God, umasbia, and satisfy us, l'chol chai ratzon, according to our deepest ratzon. What is it that we want? If you have passion for what you want, and you put your entire effort, your entire heart to attain this one thing, Elul is the time to seize the opportunity of Melech Basadeh. If you have one request, of course, during Rosh Hashanah, Seres Yemei Tshuva, Yom Kippur, we have many, many, many requests. But Melech Basadeh, in this informal moment, when the king is in the field, you're going to have one moment. You have one request. What's it going to be? That's what this boy did. He had one request. Between now and Rosh Hashanah, we're all busy. We're cooking. We're cleaning. Hopefully we're writing Divrei Torah. We have 10 days left of Melech Basadeh. These last prayers, these last deepest prayers, let us form and focus on what is our ratzon. One request. You have one chance to approach God when God is most approachable. Formulate that request and present that to God while He is in the field before Rosh Hashanah with all of the passion and all the strength and all the will that you can gather. That's what it means. HaMelech Basadeh. My friends, I wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon in person.